All right, Shalom. All praise to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakaha Kodash. Double honor to the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone, and Shalom to the hopefully elect. All right, so like you see here, all right, I have a video pulled up from the WPRI. All right, that's a news outlet, obviously, right? And it says U.S. and Iran agreed to 2-week ceasefire. All right. Now I want to open up with this scripture right here. This is 1 Thessalonians 5 and 1. But of the times and the seasons, brethren, ye have no need that I write unto you. And the times and seasons that we're living in right now is the end of the so-called white man, which is Esau, Edom, the Edomites. We're at the end of his rulership and the time when the Messiah, Yahweh Shai, is going to come back very soon, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, who is a so-called black man, just like the Heavenly Father, Yahweh, who the world ignorantly calls God, who the world ignorantly calls Jehovah, who the world ignorantly calls Yahweh, all right, but his name is Yahweh, And how sure are we of that? 1,000,000% sure. We are the prophets of the Most High and his Son. So we're going to know their names. All right, point blank, period. All right. And if you don't believe in those names, you're going to die. It's that serious, We are correct. All right. I just wanted to put that out there, But anyways, and we're right about everything we teach. The mark of the beast. All right. The whole breakdown of the whole scriptures. All right. Great Millstone has the truth. All right. And those that teach the likewise doctrine, But anyways, I'm sorry. I'm gonna start over again. I'm sorry. I kind of went off on a little tangent right there. But this is 1 Thessalonians 5 and 1. But of the times and the seasons, brethren, ye have no need that I write unto you. For yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord so cometh as a thief in the night. Right? Yahweh Shai said, "Behold, I come as a thief." Right? I come as a thief. So when Yahweh Shai comes back, it's going to be like boom out of nowhere, but not to us because we are constantly watching, right? Revelation 16 and 15. Behold, I come as a thief. Blessed is he that watcheth and keepeth his garments, lest he walk naked and they see his shame, right? Talking about this truth, this knowledge, this truth, Blessed is he that stays in the truth, stays diligent, stays, sincere and humble and endures until the end, right? So back in 1 Thessalonians 5 and 3, it says, this is the point, for when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them, as travail upon a woman with child. As travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape, right? So the Apostle Paul, he was prophesying, he was saying, before the destruction comes, they're going to say peace and safety, right? And we know that the destruction is not by and by because we need the microchip to come to pass, which is the fulfillment of Revelation 13, verses 16 through 18. All right, the mark of the beast, that's the RFID microchip, right? The NFC microchip, right? Just the implantable microchip going in a person's body, whether it be in your hand or if it be the Neuralink brain chip, right? Or if you take a chip to buy and sell anywhere in the body, that's the mark of the beast, okay? So remember that, peace and safety, right? So let's let this video play. This is fair use, fair use. All right, I'm going to speed it up just a tiny bit, all right? Fair use, not making any money off of this, all right?
We begin at 10:30 with breaking news. The U.S. and Iran have come to an agreement on a fragile ceasefire that went into effect just hours ago. But even with that announcement, there have been reports of missile attacks between Iran and Israel, which also agreed to the ceasefire.
I'm sorry, I'm about to slow it down. It's a little too fast. Let me do this. Let's do this.
We begin at 10:30 with breaking news. The U.S. and Iran have come to an agreement on a fragile ceasefire that went into effect just hours ago. But even with that announcement, there have been reports of missile attacks between Iran and Israel, which also agreed to the ceasefire. Thank you for joining us. I'm Mike Montecalvo.
And I'm Shannon Heggie. President Trump has agreed to suspend the bombing of Iran for 2 weeks after threatening to wipe the country out if no deal was reached before tonight's 8 p.m. deadline.
Yeah, and that's Taco. Trump always chickening out,
The president says the two countries came to a tentative last-minute agreement with Pakistan serving as mediator. In the meantime, Iran's military will coordinate the passage of ships through the Strait of Hormuz.
Despite the temporary pause in the fighting, many law.
Yeah, and I'll just say this, you heard brothers prophesying about, these gas prices being a factor in Jacob's trouble, right? Jacob's trouble is going to happen. There's no getting out of it, all right? Gas prices could drop back down to normal for a little bit, but something is going to happen, which we're already in Jacob's trouble, but something is going to happen where the Lord is going to bring evils upon this place, all right? It's going to get way worse than what it is now, all right? So let's say even if gas does, drop back down to normal prices for a period of time or whatever the case, look, the Most High is still bound by his word. He's still going to bring... he's still going to unleash all hell on America, Before the destruction, he's going to bring about Jacob's trouble, all right? Ezekiel 7:5, thus saith the Lord power, an only evil, behold, is come. An end is come, the end is come, it watcheth for thee, behold, it is come. The morning is come unto thee, O thou that dwellest in the land. The time is come, the day of trouble is near, and not the sounding again of the mountains. All right, and this applies in our time as well as of course when Ezekiel said this, referring to what the Neo-Babylonian empire did to Jake, right? But we could apply it to this modern Babylon as well, right? In the NLT, Ezekiel 7:5, this is what the sovereign Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai says: disaster after disaster is coming your way. That's what's coming to America. Even if they, were to work out a deal where they reopen the Strait of Hormuz and now oil is back to its, normal prices and therefore, gasoline, which is, essentially processed oil, is going to go back to regular levels. Look, the Most High is going to fucking jack this place up, man. Excuse my language, So it don't matter what the particulars look like. He's going to do it, and we know he's going to do it soon because we're at the end, man, So let's see. Verse 6, the end has come. It has finally arrived. Your final doom is waiting. O people of Israel, the day of your destruction is dawning. The time has come. The day of trouble is near. Shouts of anguish will be heard on the mountains, not shouts of joy, right? So... the Most High is going to jack this place up, man, one way or another, all right? And this third world war, this is going to happen, all right? This is on and popping. They're not going to, talk their way out of Armageddon, all right? This is prophecy. All right, let's actually get that in Isaiah 13, then we can jump back, right? Isaiah 13:4, or I'm sorry, I meant to go to 13. Bear with me, brothers. Let's see. Isaiah 13:4, it says, the noise of a multitude in the mountains, like as of a great people. That's talking about Armageddon, right? Those multitudes gathered in the valley of Yahweh Shaphat in the so-called Middle East, are particularly, the area of Saudi Arabia, as it were, a tumultuous noise of the kingdoms of nations gathered together. The Lord of hosts mustereth the host of the battle. So that word host, that means army, right? So the Lord of armies is mustering up the armies to get into this battle over there in the Middle East, all right? So that's what it is, man. The Lord of hosts is mustering the host of the battle, all right? So there's no getting out of this. There's no ceasefire, all right? They might say they have it for a little bit, right? But the Most High is going to stir up the spirits, right, of these rulers, and he's going to fulfill his prophecy because he's bound by his word. All right. Proverbs 21:1. The king's heart is in the hand of Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai. As the rivers of water, he turneth it whithersoever he will. Right? What's the precept to that? Right? Is Proverbs 20 and 24. Man's goings are of the Lord, Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai. How can a man then understand his own way? So there is no such thing as free will. It is not scriptural. It's not biblical. All right. So every man's goings is of the Lord. Heathen men, Israelite men, right? Men, women, and children of all nations. Okay. Rich men, poor men. Right. So the king's heart is in the hand of the Lord, Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai, meaning his mind. As the rivers of water, he turneth it whithersoever he will. That's deep. That's scary. You know, there's no king or ruler on planet Earth that's just, freeballing it. No, the Most High is, he's sealing their instructions, right? Deep sleep, bed. Let's see if this comes up. Beautiful. Barakatah Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. Job 33 and 14. For the Most High speaketh once, yet twice, yet man perceiveth it not. In a dream, in a vision of the night, when deep sleep falleth upon men, in slumberings upon the bed, then he openeth the ears of men, and sealeth their instructions. So when you're in your REM sleep, right, your rapid eye movement sleep, when you're dreaming, as it were, right, that's when the Most High seals your instructions. He programs you to do what you're going to do the following day. So there's no free will. The Most High is just so cold that he gives us the feeling of us being in control, but he's in control. The Heavenly Father is he's far out, man. You know what I'm saying? He's greatly to be feared, So let's get back to this video, all right?
Lawmakers remain concerned about the president's conduct prior to the announcement. Kayla Fish joins us now live in studio with more on the response. Kayla?
Well, Mike and Shannon, the president had vowed that, quote, a whole civilization will die if Iran didn't make a deal by 8 p.m. That rhetoric drew condemnation from...
Yeah, he threatened to wipe them all out, and this is that cruel Lord, all right? I'm sorry, we're just going to get this real quick, right? Isaiah 19 and 4. And the Egyptians, the Americans, will I give over into the hand of a cruel Lord, and a fierce king shall rule over them, saith the Lord, Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai of hosts. All right? So the Most High, we believe very strongly that cruel Lord is DJ Trump. All right? And we believe very strongly that he is the Emperor Nero coming back in the reincarnation. All right?
Lawmakers, the United Nations, even the Pope. But our military analyst says the threat may have also spurred those furious negotiations that led to this ceasefire. But he also expressed skepticism about the deal as fighting reportedly continues in the Middle East.
We better be very careful because we've been down this road several times before for the past 47 years.
Retired Lieutenant General Reginald Centracchio reacting to the last-minute ceasefire deal between the U.S. and Iran. The president posting the news just after 6:30 Tuesday evening, saying he agreed to suspend bombing for 2 weeks if Iran agrees to the complete, immediate, and safe opening of the Strait of Hormuz.
I have some concern about that. Does that mean tomorrow? Does it mean next week? Does it mean, and if they have mines there like they say they did, are you going to clear them in a couple of days or one day?
Yeah, that's a good point. There's logistical, things that they got to work out, it's not just, okay, we're going to reopen it, Yeah, they got all these underwater mines laid there, and this is really Iran's, this is their, their ace. This is their ace card, their ace up their sleeve, so to speak. This is their, their one trick, we're going to fucking fuck up the whole global economy by shutting down this little stretch of the sea, this one strait. If we shut this thing down, the whole world is going to be in a fucked up predicament, and that's their card. That they played that card. They really don't have any other like great, moves that they can make as far as, you know, like getting the upper hand, you know. So I don't think Iran's going to be, you know, rushing to, you know, to just reopen the strait, you know, because this is their power play right here, you know. But I speak as a man, you know. Of course, I don't know.
Fire came the same day the president escalated threats against Iran, warning on social media Tuesday morning that a whole civilization will die if a deal wasn't reached.
You know, and when you read this, he says a whole civilization will die tonight, never to be brought back again. I don't want that to happen, but it probably will. And then he opens up saying, we're going to kill all these people. We're going to wipe out this whole civilization. Then at the end, he says, God bless the great people of Iran. This is a fucking lunatic. Excuse my language, you know, but this is definitely that cruel Lord, man. All right. This dude is completely off the chain. All right. He's completely unhinged.
Threatening to eliminate a civilization is comparable to genocide. That's illegal, immoral, and it should not be in this vocabulary of an American president.
Senator Jack Reed among the Rhode Island lawmakers who were outraged over the president's threats.
I think it's not just his rhetoric, but his actions that are becoming more and more erratic and unhinged. And I think that we have to take it seriously when he says that he is going to target civilian infrastructure, when he's going to wipe a civilization off the face of the earth. We have to take it seriously.
Now, Congressman Magaziner joined with other Democratic lawmakers in saying Congress must reconvene and vote to stop the war. In the meantime, Defense Secretary...
Yeah, you know, you can reconvene all you want and you can vote all you want, but the word of the Most High is that Armageddon is going to happen. All right, World War III is going to happen, okay? Let's get Joel 3 and 1. It says, for behold, in those days and in that time, when I shall bring again the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem, meaning what? When I take the Israelites out of this captivity that they're in, under the so-called white man Esau, particularly here in America, where you have the bulk of the elect, but also Job 9 and 24, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. You know, you're under the captivity of Esau, no matter, you know, what country you live in, ultimately, you know. So when the Most High brings us out of captivity, takes the white man out, all right, I will also gather all nations and will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat, and will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land. All right, so the Most High is going to bring these nations down into the valley of Yahweh-Shaphat, or Yahweh's judgment, and will plead. He's not begging anybody. It's talking about judgment. All right, that's what that word means. He will judge them there. All right. That word is Shapat, all right? Shapata, Shapat. Connector at the end, so it's not Shapata, but it's Shapat, right? It says to judge, govern, vindicate, punish, all right? The Most High is going to judge these nations for what they did to us, all right? So, yeah, you know, World War III is going to happen. They can vote on it all they want. They can protest it. They can go, you know, kicking and screaming and crying, but the Most High is going to bring these nations, including America, into World War III, all right? And it's going to be a complete bloodbath, all right? And there's going to be nuclear fire, all right, that destroys many of these troops, okay? Joel 2 and 20, but I will remove far off from you the northern army, talking about the American army, and will drive him into a land barren and desolate, with his face toward the east sea, toward the Euphrates, and his hinder part toward the utmost sea, which is the Red Sea, okay? And his stink shall come up, and his ill savor shall come up, because he hath done great things, right? So it's going to be a great slaughter, a great a mass amount of death and casualty, all right, in the Middle East, because the Most High is going to bring this World War III to pass, you know. So I just wanted to touch on that. You know, they can sign ceasefires all day long, all right? The word of the Most High, you know, reigns supreme, you know. So, hey, with that, you know, all praise to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakaha Kodash, Double honor to the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone, and Shalom to the hopefully elect. Shalom.